Hello, everybody. Ann and I are delighted to have this chance to sit down and talk with you about the Family Dinner Project. And what better place to do that than at a dinner table without any distractions. You sure?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, ideally, we'd invite each of you to pull up a chair and join us, but our very supportive hosts here at Mayo drew the line at building a table for 800 people, and we understand that. But the important thing is that we're here together, and that's the core strength of family dinners. They bring people together. But they do far more than that. You know, the physical and the mental health benefits of family dinners are very well documented. And we'll be talking with you about some of those benefits today as we introduce you to the Family Dinner Project.
The benefits of Family Dinner are the why. The Family Dinner Project is the how. To put our work in perspective, we'd like you to think about the Family Dinner Project as a startup grassroots movement that promotes a combination of healthy food, fun, and conversation about things that matter. That's our mission. The Family Dinner is our medium.
And we want to be clear that we're not promoting some idealized 1950s version of family dinner. For a long time, American pop culture fed us a steady diet of images like that. But over the years, you know, the images have changed, become a little bit more honest, and well, you'll see for yourself.
Dinner time.
Soda's ready! Come on, y'all! Been slaving over this for hours!
Brother helps mother to her chair as he would his best girl.
Dear Lord, baby Jesus, we thank you so much for this bountiful harvest, Domino's, KFC, and always delicious Taco Bell.
Woo! Woo! Woo!
The dinner date has begun.
Whoa! Whoa! Are we
And they're all happy about it.
Your father and I were just discussing his day at work.
They converse pleasantly. It is not only good manners, but good sense.
May I have the salt?
What do we say?
Now.
Pleasant, unemotional conversation is the keynote at dinner time.
Janie, today I quit my job. Pass the asparagus.
And I marvel that you can be so contemptuous of me on the same day that you lose your job.
I didn't lose it. It's not like, whoops, where'd my job go? I quit. Someone pass the asparagus.
Oh, your husband feels he can just quit his job and you don't
Will
quit.
someone
Who's gonna
please
break the fact
pass me
down?
the
I'm not going to be a part of this.
And another thing. From now on, we're going to alternate our dinner music because, frankly, I'm really tired of this Lawrence Welk.
Well, do you begin to see now how a date with your family can be a truly special occasion?
Okay, those clips were mostly for fun, but they do pack a serious message, and that is merely having family dinner isn't a magic potion to make families happy. It takes some skill and it takes commitment. And the families who come to us realize that, and they turn to the Family Dinner Project for guidance. The families that we see represent a diversity of families today. We see grandparents raising grandchildren, we see step families, divorced families, families with single parents, with same-sex parents, and yes, the classic nuclear family. But whatever the configuration, the evidence for the benefit of family dinner is impressive. And as a family therapist, I've really tried to figure out how to harness the powerful data about family dinner. And it all came together for me one night in my home office where I see families. It was 6 p.m., and so before descending downstairs to see a family, I had popped a chicken in the oven to roast. I came downstairs, and as I sat with a family where a father and son were not speaking to each other, hadn't spoken to each other for several weeks, we all started to notice the aroma of garlic and lemon wafting through the vents down into the office. And the teenage son turned to me and only half-jokingly said, "Could we stay for dinner?" Well, I laughed nervously, but inwardly I was cringing because I realized that this family would be so much better off stopping family therapy and going right home and having family dinner together. Well, that wasn't just my intuition. There's actually an abundance of scientific studies documenting the benefits of family dinner, starting with the psychological benefits. Families who have dinner together regularly have a much lower incidence of high-risk teenage behaviors, including teenage pregnancy, smoking, substance abuse, truancy, eating disorders, and violence, and much lower depression and anxiety, and higher self-esteem. And the kids report feeling more connected to their parents. Wasn't this exactly what I was trying to do in family therapy? And then there are the cognitive benefits. Dinner conversation boosts vocabulary in young children even more than reading aloud to them at night. And there's a strong link between academic performance and family dinners, even stronger than the link between academic performance and homework. And the icing on the cake are the health benefits. Kids who eat family dinners eat much more healthily. They eat more fruits and vegetables and micronutrients and fewer soda and sugars and fats. And it's also associated with reduced asthma symptoms. And these kids grow up to be young adults who go on, when they're living on their own, to eat more fruits and vegetables. If you're interested in these studies, we have them documented on our website. But for now, you may be wondering, why? Why does family dinner confer all these benefits? Well, for starters, I think it's because in 21st century America, we have so few precious times to come together as a family and connect. It's not like we're still planting beans and corn in the fields or quilting on the porch or playing musical instruments. No, family dinner is really the one reliable time that we have to come together and recharge and relax and catch up on each other's days and monitor each other's behavior and have fun and connect. And kids who feel connected to their parents are much better able to navigate the inevitable storms of childhood and adolescence. And it's also the time to talk about things that matter at the table. This could be items in the news or abstract issues or dilemmas where kids and parents can talk about what they would do in a similar situation. And they can talk about the kinds of people that they want to be as individuals and as families. And it's also a time to tell stories about the family, about the generations that preceded us, stories that transmit to children that they're part of something bigger than themselves. And it turns out that children who know their family stories also grow up to feel more resilient. And what about those health benefits? Well, when we eat together, we tend to eat more slowly. And so the brain has a chance to absorb the cues that we've had enough to eat. And so we may eat less. And if we also turn off the TV, we're not going to be bombarded by food ads that make us eat more than we should. And we're not going to eat mindlessly. And family dinners are packed with more fruits and vegetables and less saturated fats and sugars than restaurant meals and tend to be less supersized. So, as I think back to that family that I was meeting with, I was sitting there, I was well aware of the health benefits. Father and the son were very distant from one another, and I had a secret urge to say, you know what? Here's a cookbook. Just forget about family therapy. Go home and start having family dinner together. Well, today I have a better option, which is I can refer families like this one and others to our website, where they can get tips and ideas and guidance from us, but from other families who've worked with us, and we help them put those ideas to work.
Now, our approach is above all realistic. And we recognize that everybody's exact situation is unique. So we meet people where they are. But most families have different combinations of similar kinds of issues. Time, money, attention. So by working very closely with families, we've developed a very simple to follow 4-week program that helps the whole family get involved in preparing a healthy and affordable meal, playing games to boost interaction, and to build meaningful conversations. We reach people online, as Annie mentioned, and we also work in person, in parenting groups and at community dinners for multiple families who share an interest in wanting to improve their family dinner experience. And at those community dinners, we all work together to prepare a simple multi-course meal, maybe a main course of lasagna or enchiladas with appetizer, salad, and vegetables. And once the dinner is prepared, the individual families go to separate tables and eat together. And while they're eating, the kids interview the parents about what family dinners were like when they were growing up. When dinner is finished, the kids go off to make dessert together, and they usually like to do something that's quick, fun, and maybe a little messy, like shaking up their own whipped cream. Meanwhile, the adults get together to share ideas about obstacles and about solutions. And at the end of the night, the families return to their homes to start the 4-week program in their own households. 4 weeks later, they're back at another community dinner to talk about what's worked and what hasn't. And I can't stress enough how much these families learn from each other and how much we learn from them. Because we work with people from all economic, racial, and ethnic backgrounds, and we evaluate the program along the way. We have pre- and post-assessments, and we have stories of family transformation. Stories of families, like the one that we'll call the Jacksons. Now, the Jacksons didn't even have a dinner table. But the dad was concerned that he was losing touch with his 3 teenagers who were still at home, and this showed up especially at dinner time when the kids would go out and buy fast food, bring it home to eat in their rooms. So bottom line, there was 0 conversation and really no healthy food. So the parents turned to the Family Dinner Project. And the first thing they did was to announce that the whole family was going to sit down together and have home-cooked meals. Well, the first time, the young people sat down under protest. But the parents got them playing games together, talking, interacting, sharing experiences, having a good time. You know, they just needed some support to make and keep the commitment to have family dinners. And having those dinners connected the family while they ate healthier food together and unleashed all kinds of creativity. And now that family has really interesting conversations at the dinner table, like they match items from the news with old pop song lyrics from mom and dad and new rap song lyrics from the kids. Families with very young children have also benefited from the program. Families like the Smith Bells, not their real name, 2 moms of a 5-year-old son and 2-year-old twin boys when they first came to us. The Smith Bells were already having healthy dinners together. But the mothers felt strongly that they wanted to start a family dinner tradition while the kids were still young. So using some ideas from the program, they started involving the 5-year-old in dinner preparation. And this led to some surprising benefits. One night they were preparing some acorn squash, and the little boy said, "How come it's green on the outside and orange on the inside?" And this led to an interesting discussion about how some things in life aren't always what they seem to be. So involving that child in preparing the dinner led to an interesting discussion that also led to a valuable life lesson. Many more families are achieving success through our new partnership with Mayo Clinic's Center for Innovation. We're very pleased to be here in Minnesota working with Mayo in Dodge and Mower counties, 2 rural counties near here, that have very active citizen-based wellness movements. We've already run 2 community dinners and launched a pilot project, which is something of a do-it-yourself program, where one family that's been through the 4-week program invites 2 other families into their home to introduce them to the benefits of family dinner. And our first volunteer for that kind of sharing was Kira Houston, mother of 2 young children, who, with her husband, came to our first community dinner, and at that time said she felt really overwhelmed at the prospect of creating a good dinner experience for her family. But Kira discovered talent that she didn't know she had, and I'd like you to meet her.
One of the things going to the family dinner back in October was I didn't realize how many health benefits there were to eating a family meal. And in my view, taking the Family Dinner Project was me becoming more conscious of the food choices that I'm making for my children. For me, learning that my food choices may not be my child's food choices. Coming from a family that's always been overweight, and we were the Clean Plate Club, that's always been a problem in my life. I didn't realize getting together with your family could reduce obesity, that it could get kids more comfortable with coming to their parents when they're having issues in school.
I think it's the best time of the day to connect. You're connecting over a dinner plate.
Hey guys, are you washing your hands so we can make guacamole? What's guacamole?
Guacamole is a dip for chips.
I hosted the first family dinner DIY house party, and I had 2 other families with young children. They had an amazing time. We had a make your own fajita bar. The kids made guacamole, and they had fun. And then we had a good opportunity to talk about why it's so important to have that time, whether it's breakfast, lunch, or dinner, just getting together with your family. I am so excited that I was brought in to the Family Dinner Project family, and that overall, it's a positive benefit that helped bring my family closer together.
Most recently, we've teamed up with Mayo to train facilitators in the 2 counties' wellness projects. So we've been working with teachers, nurses, nutritionists, and public officials to help them find ways to use ideas from the Family Dinner Project.
And we'd like to invite you to go online to thefamilydinnerproject.org. We hope you'll agree with us that making the most out of family dinners has the potential to make the home a new hub of healthcare, in keeping with the idea of helping families live healthier lives and the trend towards preventative health care. If you work directly with patients, you might consider asking your patients about their family dinners. Coming from you, that question might help them think about the kind of family dinner experience they'd like to have. Back home in Massachusetts, I've been working with groups of pediatricians who are well aware of the health benefits, but they tell me that they don't always have the time to talk directly with their patients' families about family dinners. And so I've suggested to them that they orient their patients to our website. And if you feel comfortable or interested in the Family Dinner Project from what you've heard today, I hope you'll consider doing the same with your patients.
And when you go home and have dinner with your own family, try some of the conversation starters on our website. You'll have some fun, and you'll probably learn some things about each other as well. I can tell you that family dinners are a very personal commitment for all of us at the Family Dinner Project. In my case, I learned about the power of family dinners from my dad, who raised my sister and me as a single parent. But he always prioritized time spent at the dinner table, even if that meant that all 3 courses were going to be a heated up can of Dinty Moore beef stew because he got home late from work that night. We sat down together as a family, and we knew we were cared for. And that was a priceless experience he created for our family. And I'm thankful that the Family Dinner Project gives other families to create that experience for themselves.
Bob and I appreciate the opportunity to talk to you today about the Family Dinner Project. We've seen remarkable transformations in the families we've worked with who've committed themselves to family dinner. And more than a few of them have told us that discovering the power of family dinner has changed their lives. And so as I think back to that evening with the roasting chicken, I realize that now I consider family dinners an extension of my professional practice. And I recommend family dinners to my patients. In fact, I recommend family dinners to the psychiatry residents I teach, and it's the time of day I most look forward to. It's a time that we all can use as a laboratory to practice the changes we want in our lives. Dinner's also a time to have a ritual, to take a break from the hubbub of everyday life. And it's a time to promote health and a deep connection with the people we love. Thank you very much.
Thanks behind you.
Please, got room for one more here?
Of course.
So, Robert, please forgive me for not introducing you. I got so flummoxed by talking to three moms.
That's all right. We were so nervous in the back, I didn't even notice. So.
Well, turn around so everyone can see you.
We'd also like to invite one more person out.
Sure.
Jen Haugen.
Please.
Who's a dietitian who's taken our work into the community.
Why don't you take the chair?
Okay.
Sure. Maybe we'll get the crew to bring another chair out. We've got tons of chairs back there, but. So was that the Marcella Hazan recipe for lemon in chicken, or it was?
It's my own family recipe,
right,
and it's a deep secret.
All right.
Yeah.
So since we're talking about the family recipes and some of the deep, in many cases, European roots of the evening meal, how much of the family practice is a restoration of some of those traditions which have a certain kind of psychic power, and the invention of something fundamentally new for families who either have been so detached from those traditions that they don't know anything about them or don't really have them at all?
We really see a wide range of people who had no family dinners growing up or had very unhappy experiences, and for them it's a discovery and experimenting with a form that they really know very little about. I would also add that for some families, dinner doesn't really work. And although we are the Family Dinner Project, we're also about flexibility and meeting families where they are. And so for some families, breakfast.
Family breakfast project.
Family breakfast project, or family brunch on Saturday.
We always want
Sunday.
follow-on products in medical startups. You definitely do. Family lunch, family snack.
Yes.
In our family, it's I come from a family where this is like huge, dinner every night kind of thing. And my wife comes from a single mom, raised her. It was very much about sort of convenience and the microwave kind of thing.
Right.
And we've had a great experience maintaining a family dinner experience in our household, but as the kids become teens, it often seems, even though I can see the benefits that the family gets from the dinner, it also begins to seem like dad's weird neurosis. We have to sit down and have dinner in the evening. Can you create tension by trying to impose this in some cases, and how tricky is that?
So I think there's a little bit of a myth about that. When research has been done and teenagers have been asked to rate the activities during their week that they most look forward to, family dinner is quite high on that list.
And the parents were probably not in the room when they were asked answering that question. Yeah, right. Yeah.
I can just say anecdotally that also in talking with adults looking back and thinking about families who required them to be at dinner, anecdotally what I hear is gratitude that was the case. So even though you may get that opposition in the moment, it pays off down the line.
Is there a cleanup issue?
That's where husbands come in.
Oh, we could have a conversation about
exactly.
that.
How did you I want to ask some dietitian questions in a second, because my mom was a dietitian, and I think that partly fueled her whole interest in maintaining this in our family. But how did you two guys get together?
The project was started by a woman named Shelley London, who was a corporate president and retired and came to Harvard to do a fellowship where leaders in various industries and healthcare came to kind of retool and become sort of devote themselves to service. And she started it. She gathered a group. Bob's expertise is in conflict resolution. I'm a family therapist. There was also a chef, a design person, some folks from education. So it was a very interdisciplinary team that she assembled.
What do you see as the pure dietary benefits of having to plan, shop for, and execute a meal for different people with different tastes every single night?
Well, I'm a dietitian at a supermarket, and so I work daily on helping families create healthier meals. And when you can generally plan your meal for the week and get your family involved in what they like to be eating, and then also cook together and eat together, you'll have much greater success in creating a healthier meal.
let's relate that to two other conversations. One which we just had, this idea of demedicalizing the prenatal experience. Do you think there's a thematic kind of resonance here in the sense that you're raising a lot of health issues at the family dinner in a purely demedicalized setting? They're talking about trying to recreate a sort of demedicalized prenatal experience. Do those things go together, do you think?
I think that at least one of the similarities is that we've both started with where people are and where they want, and asked them where they want to be and what their ideas are about what would help them get there. So it's very much driven by the people themselves and not by the sort of medical authority, or in our case, I suppose, therapeutic authority.
Right. You know, what you just said reminded me of what Kevin Ronenberg of Target was talking about, the sensitivities of intervening in people's health lives in the retail setting. Clearly, they want to go down some road. I took him way down the road where he did not want to go. I actually talked with him a little bit on the way out. He's not here now anymore. But do you find that when you talk to people in a supermarket setting about changing their dietary habits, I don't know how you intervene, I don't know what that is like particularly, that they're open to thinking about their overall health when they're really just buying bananas?
Definitely. Because I think on the clinic side, because I've worked on the clinic side as a dietitian, you get the information, like your cholesterol is high and you need to be eating less red meat or whatever. But in the end, you come to the store and you're thinking, I don't know what else I need to be eating. So for me to work with a person in the aisle is much more practical. And at that point, the person is generally more open to change versus just getting a whole bunch of information where they feel overwhelmed.
So if there was a mobile app that basically carried a rudimentary set of vital health statistics that might relate to eating habits on some level, you could take that data and go, you know, I can design a menu for you that would help address some of these stats, and you think people might be into that over time?
I think over time, but I think also people like to have flexibility.
Sure.
So I think when I get people to say, oh, I'd really like you to design me a menu, but at the same time, they also want to be able to just, oh, I have this in the fridge, I want to eat it. So keeping it flexible and open where they can choose their recipes and how their family can also be integrated in helping that happen too is important.
There's a reason why they call it whole foods and not guilt trip foods, right? Yeah. All right, so finally, on this question of family therapy, which is a fully reimbursable therapy covered by insurance in many cases, absolutely. Yeah. Can you recommend this particular program and have it be reimbursable? Is there a way to do that? Is there a pathway to getting there? No.
I like the way you're thinking, but no, I don't. No, we haven't figured. That's not part of the business model.
Have you gone to them and said, "Hey, what about this?" And they've said, "Absolutely not," or is it just you haven't broached that yet?
I think that it sort of goes into the question you raised before about medicalizing and pathologizing. We really haven't gone down that road because we're treating this as a normal function of life, and not as something remedial that needs to be prescribed.
Although one of the most experienced doctors at this conference, Dr. Eric Mannheimer, ran Bellevue Hospital, started his clinical career in Haiti, where the thing he did most was prescribe food to people. So in many ways, America has a few things to learn.
Yeah.
Guys, thanks so much. Really appreciate it.